Hey, what's up everyone? So look, we all need to get away sometimes, right? Put the phone down, close the laptop, get out there and touch some grass. Go for a hike, swim in a lake, sit around a campfire. Good for the soul. I get it, I really do. But before you pack that bag and head into the woods, you might want to hear these 5 stories first. Because some of them, they could genuinely save your life. Let's get into it. Crescent Lake, Olympic National Park, Washington. One of the most gorgeous places you'll ever lay eyes on. Crystal blue water, ancient trees, mountains stretching up into the clouds. The kind of place that makes you forget the rest of the world even exists. But locals will tell you something strange happens out there. When the moonlight hits the water just right, people see her, a woman, gliding across the surface of the lake. Hundreds of people have reported it over the years. And whether you believe in ghosts or not, the story behind this apparition is 100% real. And honestly, it's heartbreaking. Back in the 1930s, there was a little tavern sitting right on the edge of Crescent Lake. Rough around the edges, the kind of place loggers and travelers would stop in to get out of the cold. And working there was a barmaid named Haley, 35 years old, had been through a lot in life, and had recently fallen into what turned out to be the worst relationship of her life. A man named Montgomery Illingworth. Monty, people called him. A beer truck driver with a nasty temper and a habit of using his fists. Haley's co-workers knew. They could see the bruises. She'd confide in them about what Monty was doing to her behind closed doors. And then one night, it all boiled over. A violent altercation right outside the tavern, bad enough that police showed up. And shortly after that, Haley was gone. December 22nd, 1937. Just vanished. Monty told police she'd run off with some sailor. No evidence to prove otherwise, so he walked. Eventually packed up and moved to California. And just like that, it seemed like the mystery of Haley Illingworth was going to stay buried. Except Crescent Lake had other plans. In 1940, 3 years later, a body floated up to the surface. And this wasn't just any body. It was wrapped in a blanket, bound with ropes, and preserved in this incredibly bizarre way. The fats in the body had converted into a waxy, soap-like substance through a rare process called saponification. No fingerprints, no facial features. Doctors literally called it the ivory soap corpse. But they identified her anyway through her hair, her build, and most crucially, her dental records. It was Haley, and the rope, a specific type sold exclusively through Sears, traced right back to Monty Illingworth. He was extradited from California, stood trial, and was convicted of Haley's murder. 9 years in prison. 9 years for taking a woman's life and dumping her body in a lake. So that figure people see on the water at night, maybe it's just a trick of the light. Or maybe it's Haley, still there, like she never really left. The Pacific Crest Trail runs over 2,600 miles, all the way from the Mexican border up to Canada. It's one of the most iconic long-distance hikes in the world, and thousands of people take it on every single year. In the spring of 2022, a young woman named Kira set out on the trail looking for what so many of us look for out there. Peace, adventure, a break from everything. And for a while, that's exactly what she found, until she crossed paths with a man named James Perillo. On the surface, James seemed like just another experienced hiker. Charming, talkative, knew all the right things to say. And here's the thing about meeting someone out in the wilderness. The social rules completely change. You're both out there in the middle of nowhere, and it would feel genuinely weird not to stop and chat. James knew that. He used it. They started hiking together, sharing stories, laughing, passing the time. It seemed fine at first, but slowly, Kira started noticing things. His stories didn't add up. His moods would shift out of nowhere. Calm one minute, unsettling the next. Something was off, and her gut was screaming at her. When she finally told him she wanted to go her own way, he didn't accept that. Fast forward to February 2023. A gas station in Bass River, New Jersey. A barefoot woman comes running in, slams the door behind her, locks the deadbolt. A man comes up from behind and tries to get in, telling her through the glass, "You don't want to do this." Then he sees people watching, and he runs. That woman was Kira, and she had been held captive by James Perillo for nearly a year. When authorities dug into his background, it got even darker. He'd done this kind of thing before: kidnapping, manipulation, running cons under multiple fake names. He'd once held an entire yacht full of people at gunpoint. At one point, he'd even made threats against President Clinton. And back in 2019, Backpacker magazine had actually published a warning about a dangerous man on the trails. Nobody knew his name at the time, but the behavior matched perfectly. Perillo is currently behind bars awaiting trial. But the lesson Kira's story leaves us with is simple and absolutely worth tattooing on your brain. Asterisk: when your gut tells you something is wrong, listen. Even if it means being rude. Even if it means walking away from someone in the middle of the woods. Asterisk: your gut exists for a reason. New Year's Day 2008. Blood Mountain, Chattahoochee National Forest, Georgia. People are out hiking, starting the year fresh. And 24-year-old Meredith Emerson is one of them. Recently graduated from the University of Georgia with honors. Heading out on a hike with her dog Ella. She never came home. The man who crossed her path that day was Gary Hilton, a drifter in his early 60s who people around the area described as increasingly strange and intimidating over the years. Self-inflicted missing teeth he proudly displayed because, in his own words, he liked how it scared people. That should tell you everything. Hilton was brought in for questioning. His hand was visibly wrapped up, and sitting across from investigators, he told them what he had done. He'd forced Meredith to camp with him for days, and she fought him. She never stopped fighting, never stopped yelling. He'd broken his own hand, punching her in the head. He offered to take them to her body in exchange for a deal, no death penalty. They agreed. And then, completely stone cold, he told them, asterisk, "Okay, the head will be missing." Asterisk. This was not his first time. Investigators quickly realized Hilton's murders stretched back years. Cold cases that had never been solved suddenly looked very different in his light. Disappearances of hikers and campers in national forests across the southeast, all bearing his signature. An elderly couple vanished from Pisgah National Forest. A woman named Cheryl Dunlap disappeared in Florida's Apalachicola National Forest in 2007. Her body later found dismembered. Georgia kept their deal, no death penalty. But Florida didn't make that promise. For the murder of Cheryl Dunlap, Gary Hilton was sentenced to death. He's currently sitting on death row at 77 years old. So those are of the darkest real camping stories out there. Some of them are terrifying, some are heartbreaking, and some are just a reminder of what can actually be waiting for you out in the woods. Stay aware out there. Trust your gut. And maybe keep an eye on the treeline. I'm Andrew. Thanks so much for watching. If you want more stories like this, go check us out on Patreon. There's a whole library of exclusive content waiting for you. And hey, it's free to sign up. See you guys next time.